This actor is good at playing the police. More surprisingly, he was arrested by several fake policemen. The kidnapping took place 20 years ago in Beijing, shocking the whole of China overnight. At noon the next day, the kidnapper called for a ransom of 2 million, and shouted that he had a grenade. Whoever dared to arrest him would die together, arrogantly said that, in order to save the hostage as soon as possible. The Beijing police summoned the best criminal investigation experts. They found that the gangster did not leave any trace at the scene, which excites the police, because it shows that they are a group of experienced criminals. However, the more they avoid leaving physical traces, the heavier the psychological traces they leave behind. By comparing similar cases recently, the police found that there were striking similarities between this case and the two cases in Pinggu district of Beijing. One of the hostages had not been released for 5 months after his family paid a ransom of 3 million. In the investigation of the first two cases, the police have targeted the suspect, a man called Wang Lihua. In the media reports later, he was described as the first cold-blooded bandit in Beijing. Why do they say that? As early as 1995, 17-year-old Wang Lihua robbed a businessman of more than 20,000 and was sentenced to 9 years in prison. But in prison, he carried out a long-term criminal premeditation. When he got out of prison, the first thing he planned to do was to kill his mother. Why is that? He confessed to the reporter that he could do great things without worrying about his mother. This abnormal mentality frightened the reporters. So what's the big thing he's going to do? He wants to rob the vault of the bank and become a national big thief. During the chat with his cellmates, Wang Lihua learned that the bank's vault key was jointly controlled by the bank owner and the head of the security sector. While reading newspapers in prison, he also secretly remembered the location of some banks. 7 years later, he got out of prison early and didn't go home to his mother. Instead, he traveled all over the country and looking for guns. Finally, 4 sellers were found in the southwest border, and he ordered 180 guns. At that time, the deposit was more than 300,000. In order to collect the rest of the money, he decided to get some money by bad ways, and finally kidnapped a billionaire in Beijing. He killed the man after getting a ransom of 3 million, but the money was soon spent by him. So he tried to kidnap a movie star. In the early morning of February 3, 2004, Wang Lihua stopped a BMW in front of a bar in Sanlitun, pretended to be a policeman in dealing with a hit-and-run case, and put the man into the car and took him away. The most ironic thing is that when the police asked him how to choose actor, "I didn't know him," he said. "I thought it was another actor." Turns out they both made a mistake. So how did the police catch him? Wang Lihua changed the place every day. He also had 2 pistols in her pocket and a grenade, an outlaw who dared to die with others at any time. In order to catch all this ferocious criminal gang, the police took all kinds of hard means to get out of control. The police monitored all the locations, but Wang Lihua never showed up until 18 hours after the case. The police finally found his car on the side of the road, rushed to the ground at the risk of death and pushed him to the ground, buckled his fingers one by one and took out the grenade safely. If it were 2 seconds later, the grenade might really be a loud bang. What is surprising is that Wang Lihua smiled unexpectedly. He admitted at once that he had kidnapped the man, but refused to tell where he was hiding. He even negotiated with the police, saying that as long as he was released first, he could ensure the safety of the hostages. "Either let me go, or everyone would die together." Do you think it's a joke? Now that you've been arrested, there's no need to try to be brave. You think we don't know about your safe houses, including the guns you hid? Wang Lihua's clamor is not groundless, because if his accomplice does not hear from him for a few hours, he is likely to kill the hostage. The commander had to make arrangements immediately, continue the trial, on the other hand, sending a number of teams to their safe house, ready to attack. At this time, Wang Lihua was silent for a moment, then suddenly said she was going back to see her girlfriend and dog, and then cooperated with releasing the hostages. Of course the police knew that he was probably trying to escape on the road, or send a signal to his girlfriend. After the search, a handcuff key was found in his underwear. The kidnapper was so cunning that he was ready to be caught. His psychology gradually broke down, and after he met his girlfriend, he offered to take the police to find the hostages. At the rescue scene, Wang Lihua was still challenging the police, saying that all 5 people inside had guns. For the desperate hostages, there was a violent explosion. This explosion came from the police. At the same moment, the police broke through the doors and windows, and protected the hostages with their bodies. In less than 3 seconds, the gunman was arrested at the same time, and the hostages were rescued safely. The hostage was finally safe, and the kidnappers planned to kill the hostages when they got the money. When the police rushed in, he was stunned with excitement. Wang Lihua and her accomplices were caught. After further interrogation, the police exhumed the body of a hostage 5 months ago, and seized a large amount of guns and ammunition, and the sensational cold-blooded kidnapping gang was completely destroyed. A year later, Wang Lihua was taken to the ground to be executed.